This is a story called The Little Monsters, chapter 174. Both the Little Monsters gang and the Tremblers gang teach the Frighteners gang a lesson they'll never forget. The kids are at school and during morning assembly, Mrs. Scott makes an announcement saying, "I need you all to listen to me because I have something that is highly important to tell you all. Last night I received the news that the Frighteners gang have escaped from young offenders. It said that somehow they managed to get hold of some matches. They set the building on fire and escaped whilst being evacuated. I want all of you to be on your guard at all times. Please make sure that you stay in groups and please don't go anywhere alone. These kids are dangerous, so please be very careful." Everyone went to their morning classes, but no one could concentrate on their work because they were all really scared. That day at lunchtime, the kitchen staff put extra food on for the whole school so they wouldn't have to leave the premises. After lunch, Mrs. Scott decided to let the kids do what they wanted to do, as long as they didn't leave the school premises until home time. At home time, Mrs. Scott put some of the kids in taxis which were paid for by the school. Thankfully, all the kids stayed on the school premises during lunchtime. However, at home time, the gang picked up the little kids, but when they got away from the school, they heard a voice say, "Well, well, well, look who we have here. It's the Little Monsters gang, the kids who had us put in jail." When the gang turned round, it was the Frighteners gang. They grabbed the little kids and ran all the way home as fast as they could, with the Frighteners gang chasing after them. Thankfully, they all made it back to Kicker's house safely, as hers was the nearest to get to. When they got there, the little kids were all crying and Kicker's mum said, "What's the matter with the little ones, Kicker?" "The Frighteners gang were waiting for us and they chased us all the way here," answered Kicker. "Oh my God, they're out of jail already," said Jane. "Yeah, they escaped yesterday by setting fire to the building," said Kicker. Kicker's mum called her dad and she said to him, "Charles, the Frighteners gang have escaped from jail." "Yes, I know. I bumped into Mrs. Scott in Morrison's and she told me," said Charles. The rest of the parents were contacted and when they arrived at Kicker's, Charles said, "I think it's best that we take you all to school and pick you up until these kids are caught. The little ones especially. The big kids, if you stay together, you can take yourselves." "It's okay, Dad. We'll be okay by ourselves," said Kicker. "Well, okay, but just make sure you all stay together," said Charles. The next day, when the big kids were on their way to school, the Frighteners gang came after them and chased them again. As soon as they got to school, they told Mrs. Scott that the Frighteners gang were after them and she phoned the police. Unfortunately, by the time the police got there, the Frighteners were nowhere to be found. Later on that morning, Bumpy went to the toilet during break time. However, what no one realised is that the Frighteners gang had somehow managed to get into the school building. As soon as they saw Bumpy, they grabbed her and beat her up. After she'd been gone for about 15 minutes, Kicker said, "Hey guys, don't you think Bumpy's a long time?" "Yeah, I hope she's okay. Come on, let's go and check on her," said Creeper. The girls went to find Bumpy, and when they found her, she was lying unconscious and in a pool of blood on the floor of the girls' toilets. Creeper stayed with her and Kicker went to get help. Straight away she found Mrs. Scott walking past the toilets and she said to her, "Miss, Bumpy's been beaten up by the Frighteners gang and she's unconscious and bleeding." Mrs. Scott went into the girls' toilets and saw the state of Bumpy and she said to Kicker and Creeper, "Girls, please stay with her while I go and call an ambulance and the police." The girls stayed with Bumpy and when the ambulance arrived, Kicker was allowed to go to the hospital with her. Thankfully, she had no serious injuries, just a slight concussion and cuts and bruises. At lunchtime that day, the Tremblers gang went over to the Little Monsters and Carla said, "These kids need teaching a lesson that they'll never forget and I think that we should be the ones to do it." "Yeah, but how?" asked Creeper. "Well, there's 8 of us, 6 of you, and only 10 of them. If we all hang around where we know they'll hang around, we can get them then," answered Carla. The next day was a Saturday, and both gangs met up in a place where they knew the Frighteners gang would go. After they'd been there for about 10 minutes, the Frighteners gang turned up. As they approached the other 2 gangs, Nicola, the ringleader of the Frighteners gang, said, "Well, what do you know? Look who we have here." Before they could do or say anything else, some of the Tremblers gang and the Little Monsters gang went behind them and grabbed them and they all started fighting. Then out of nowhere, some more kids from school turned up and joined in. By the time they'd finished, the Frighteners were on the floor, injured and crying. However, 2 minutes later, some more members of the Frighteners gang came along and everything escalated out of control. All the kids were adamant that they weren't going to let the Frighteners gang win. They all fought and fought until eventually the police arrived and broke them up. The Frighteners gang tried to make a run for it despite their injuries, but the police arrested them. They were sent back to young offenders, and it's fair to say that the other kids taught them a lesson. Or maybe not. The end. Hope you like it, guys. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to like, share, comment and subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook and Instagram, please feel free to like, share, comment and to go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Love yous. Bye.